his chaps did not cover his cheeks. Those were cheekless chaps. You knew that, and he knew that before before the audience did.
Has anybody had a more disappointing year than Sony? Well, seriously, it started out with the promise that we were going to get Beyond the Spider-Verse. We find out it wasn't even in production. And then, now Shameik Moore, the voice of Miles Morales, is crashing out over Haley Steinfeld, who's the voice of Gwen Stacy, because she's married, or at least engaged, to quarterback of the Buffalo Bills, Josh Allen. Then, Sony releases one of the worst movies, if not the worst movie of 2024 in Madam Web. That movie was downright unwatchable, and for Sony to put that out, that mess of a movie, to think that it's going to be profitable is honestly pretty funny. Like, what are we doing? And then we go to the gaming part of Sony. Besides Astrobot, I don't know if there was a worthwhile exclusive for the PlayStation this year. I don't. And I guess we could talk about Concord. I'm sorry. We can't talk about Concord because they took it offline. And then to add insult to injury, I understand the PlayStation 5 has been around since 2020, which is, as they say, half of its life expectancy. But half of us couldn't even get a hold of the system when it came out because there was a supply shortage.
My mama had one.
Shut up. And then we fast forward to now when Sony introduces the PlayStation 5 Pro. More storage, more memory. More memory for what exactly? No exclusives. And then the PlayStation 5 Pro doesn't even have a disc drive. Why am I paying $700 for a system that doesn't have a disc drive and nothing worthwhile to play? So you can discontinue something that I paid $70 for? No, thank you. And I guess you could say Venom. Venom was a success. Was it? Was it really? Did any of us win? No. Sony. Everything Sony. Sony is the biggest L of 2024.
All right, Taylor. So, what was the biggest L of this year?
So it's gonna pain me to say, but it's gonna have to be Drake.
Drake.
And anyone that knows me knows, like, I'm one of his biggest fans, right? But it's not even about the battle itself, like the rap beef. It's not even about that. Like, that is one of the best beefs we've probably ever seen, you know, in at least in a while. I mean, I don't know.
It's way better than Drake and Meek.
I forgot about that.
Yes. It was better than Drake and Meek, but that was one of my issues. Like, the thing with Drake and Meek is that Drake put out back to back, which was like automatic hit. Everybody was playing it. But this time, Kendrick put out Not Like Us, automatic hit. Everybody's playing it. So it's like, I feel like Drake is supposed to be the, you know, hit person who puts out all these hits, and he didn't do it. Like, he didn't make a back to back this time. Like, Push Ups was good, but they were all good. I don't have a problem with what anybody did.
Family Matters is underrated.
Family Matters is way underrated. Like, I don't care what anybody says. All those songs that Drake put out was good. All the songs that Kendrick put out was good.
Not the hard part 6.
I mean, the hard part 6, I feel like wasn't even, I don't know. It wasn't great. It wasn't great. It was good. It wasn't great. But, you know, people just felt like he was just defending himself the whole time, which is like, you know, I kind of get. But either way, like, how it ended is more what I have a problem with. Like, he didn't put out a hit before Kendrick, or just, you know, a main summer hit at all. And then the fact that the lawsuit, like, so either his team or he put out a lawsuit, I don't know. But that just, I don't know, it's rap beef. Like, and I get it, like, but you got the whole world chanting along, like, saying you're a PDF file. Like, I don't know, it's So the other thing is, pretty sure he promised an album with Party Next Door and didn't come out. It was supposed to come out in the fall, and here we are filming this in December. So I feel like maybe that could have been a redemption point, but I don't know. Maybe it was smart because of everything going on, but I I don't know. I'm gonna have to give him the L this time. And now we got Kendrick at the Super Bowl, so we'll see. But I don't know.
Kelsey, what deserves one of the biggest L's of the year?
Hands down, the Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul. The entire thing was ridiculous. First of all, with his chaps on. I don't know why they did that. That was just disrespectful. I was watching, like, my kids was in the room. They weren't watching because it was a fight. But, like, the cameraman,
just cheeks, just all.
He just zoomed in, and then it was like, oh, let's back out. Like, you did it on purpose. You knew talking to him, his chaps did not cover his cheeks. Those were cheekless chaps. You knew that. And he knew that before the audience did. And he had the audacity to still be like, all right. And he waited for him to walk away. He dismissed him. And then was like, that's rude. Why would you do that? Didn't nobody want to see that? Not elderly cheeks. Don't do that. That already set the tone. We knew what it was going to be after that. Trash. Complete garbage. Okay, so after the intro, onto the actual fight. The bits that we could watch. Like, we get in, it starts playing fine. Netflix, you had a whole year to get your life together. We were paying for the service. So why did y'all not have the bandwidth allocated already to let us stream seamlessly without issues? I can't tell you how many times we shut off the router. I logged on to the app trying to make sure, like checking the internet speed. Honey, we're well over 600. What's your problem? Like, why didn't you try? You didn't try at all. Like, you got all that money. Nobody who had, or people who didn't have Netflix before signed up for it because they're like, oh, well, I gotta see this fight. You have all these people signing up for it and you can't even stream it. That was just altogether a scam. Like, the class action lawsuit, like, should have been facing whatsoever. If they weren't distracted by the level of fighting, people would have been more angry about the streaming services. We got 2 rounds in, got tripped up by the streaming, and then we were like, yo, where's his uppercut? Why is he just letting him do this? He looks tired. He looked tired at the end of the 2nd round. 3rd round, you're like, I sure hope something gives. Surely he's not going to go the whole... They literally hugged the whole time. At least from what we've seen. Especially, like, we all saw Mike Tyson with the just, and then I'm like, well, maybe he hurt himself. He's elderly. There's a solid possibility that, you know, like, he just don't have it. He don't have the range of motion no more. That's fine. However, getting to the, like, contract details and all that stuff that was revealed after the fight, give me my money back. I want the whole refund from Netflix. I want a year's worth of Netflix subscriptions. I want it back.
I do my own zoom ins and zoom outs.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's not a secret. I am not addicted to superhero movies like everybody else on this channel is.
What?
I mean, I love them. Don't get me wrong. It's a great time for me. I love going with my family and my friends. It's just a big thing. But I'm not an addict like the rest of them. Okay? But as someone who grew up in the 90s and the early 2000s, Blade was always, you know, a staple, and I loved it. Absolutely loved it. So I was very excited when I heard that, you know, another one was coming out, especially knowing Mahershala Ali was going to play him too. I was ready to tell Marvel to take all my money. Okay, pop quiz. Do you even remember when Blade was announced to be added to the MCU?
2019.
You cheated, but yes. Right, yeah. Now, then he also makes a cameo at the end of Eternals. Do you remember that? That was 2021. And so it's been what, 5 years now?
Yes.
Okay, we still have no Blade. Everything around this movie has been absolutely ridiculous, honestly. So, for instance, rumors of Blade going to be the 4th lead in his own movie, going through 5 writers and then multiple directors. And then, honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if they just scrapped the whole project entirely and did some type of ensemble movie with it, because it's just not making any sense at this point. And then, seeing Wesley Snipes appear as Blade 20 years later, before we even get a chance to see the new Blade, is absolutely insane. And then he throws shade at him in the movie when he said that there's only one Blade and that there will ever only be one Blade. At this moment, I wouldn't mind seeing this script on Bo DeMayo's OnlyFans at this point.
Microtransactions are going to be the death of video games as we know it. I know we've talked about this over the years. I mean, I've been a Destiny player for a long time. 2,700 hours in D2, 1,000 hours in D1. I know all about microtransactions and pop-ups and things like that. I mean, we're talking about Suicide Squad, and actually I did watch some videos and stuff like that of when it came out. It was open world, supposedly live service and this and that, and just microtransactions all over the place, you know. And people just, you go out and you spend the money for the game. People don't want constant pop-ups and ads and things like that to spend more. You know, the thing is if you came out and you just made a great game, you know, a Black Myth Wukong type game, people are gonna spend the money. You know, that's the thing. When a new DLC comes out for something, whether it be a Call of Duty or anything like that, which Call of Duty is very guilty of this. You know, if I get in there and the gameplay's solid, I'm gonna buy the skin. I want my character to look the coolest, right? But people don't like being harassed for it, and that's what it feels like with all these microtransactions. You know, and that, along with the bugs in every single game that comes out. Remember Multiverses?
Oh my God,
Multiverses had it, honestly. I mean, it really was. It showed promise. It could have been really good, right?
Yeah. And what happened?
I mean, I remember specifically sitting here destroying you guys with Shaggy the one night. I mean, that could have been a great one. That could have taken the place of Super Smash Brothers in some circles. You know, honestly.
And then when it came out in beta, it's just.
But even think about even on that note, right?
Yeah.
Think about how many ads and how much microtransaction there was in Smash Brothers, and we didn't stop playing Brawl from the Wii until the one for Switch came out. That's a 15-year run of us playing this game every time we all got together, and not an ad in sight. You know, yes, there was DLCs to buy.
Yeah.
Of course. And you know what we did? Well, the game was so solid, what happened? We all bought the DLCs, right? Yeah, okay. So yeah, that's going to be my biggest L is the microtransactions. Yeah.
Name it. What is one of the biggest L's of 2024?
The well-anticipated Joker sequel, Folie Doux. First of all, they made it a musical and it was terrible. It was just terrible. It didn't flow at all with what the original story set out for it. So I just I know Todd Phillips, like, he hated the praise that the first movie got, but to go against literally everything and just said, hey, let's make a musical. And while we're at it, we're gonna hire Lady Gaga and underutilize her acting abilities. She's just gonna sing. That's Harley Quinn. Yeah. I don't think there's another movie out there that could have been more disappointing than literally Folie Doux. There's literally a Batman villain in the series Brave and Bold that was like on Cartoon Network years ago. His name is Music Meister, and he literally turns everything into a musical. So for you to do a musical and not have the villain that turns everything into a musical is kind of like weird.
Autumn, who deserves the biggest L of 2024?
Well, I was going to say the Tyson and Jake Paul fight, but Kelsey took that one. So I'm going to give the biggest L to the Love is Blind crew on Netflix. Let's dive into that real quick. So you're telling me you get engaged to a person that you've only known for 10 days. Let me repeat that. 10 days, never seen them. You can only go by a voice and personality, as Netflix wants to teach us. But then again, these people get engaged and their first big reveal is after the 10 days, and you might not like what you see, but for the views, you're going to stay engaged and get to that wedding day. So then these people go on a honeymoon for a week, come back to apartment life, realize they hate each other, and then they have to go to this extremely cringy wedding day of bad makeup and hair and family interactions. But anyways, some of the exciting parts that we wanted to see was the arguing and the drama, but no, Netflix didn't want us to know about all the toxicity going on behind the scenes, such as a certain person with a fiance and had 3 kids that no one knew about. But we're not going to get into that. Also, let's talk about some of the behind interviews. Seemed a little rehearsed, a little Sesame Street. Make everyone think that everything's so great and cheery and everyone's so happy, but they weren't. And it was obvious to the viewers. None of them are really happy. They were just there to find their person, get married, or make a toxic relationship that they had only known this person for about maybe a month work for the views, for the people. Who knows? But then after that, they always have what we wait for, the reunion. Let's just talk about Mr. Nick Lachey and Vanessa Lachey, bringing love and harmony and Care Bear activity to the reunion. Asking the newbies, the Odies were asking the newbies all the questions. But they weren't the questions that the people want to hear. I want to know, how is it this clown sitting on the couch with a fiance and got 3 babies out there floating around?
Well, technically, they were married at the time.
Let's also talk about how they don't put these contestants through therapy or some type of psychotherapy, knowing these people have insecurities, getting on TV, and then they come back 50 pounds lighter and still act like they still got some insecurities and some unresolved problems that they need to deal with. But anyways, we didn't get the answers that we wanted. We didn't get them. And then me, I have to get on TikTok and scroll endless hours during the night to get my unresolved answers, to get the questions answered from TikTok. In the end, the biggest fail wasn't really Love is Blind. It wasn't really my internet connection trying to get to the Tyson and Jake Paul fight. The biggest L was Netflix.
Subscribe for more headlines throughout the week, games, and 60-second reviews.